Good afternoon, everybody. Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. I am going to do another reading from our fabulous hardware catalog clipped book from 1905. But I'm going to show you this. The page unfortunately came off, but there she is. Our Bertha E. Batt. She dated this book September 14th, 1905. So we've got a few stories to catch up. I'm probably going to do a few chapters today. So after much thought, and so many people don't have Facebook, and there's people that enjoy the story. So I'm going to just make a separate channel for the reading. So this will be the last reading on my regular YouTube channel. I will put the link for the new one in the description because I'm still trying to figure out the name, but I think I know what it will be. So I'm wearing a Mermaid Squad shirt in pink in commemoration of the Barbie movie. So, yay, Barbies. People are losing their minds over Barbies. Isn't it a perfect time? I have a lot of that's actually some of my Barbie shelf right there. You can see maybe some feet sticking out. I have so much sorting of Barbies to do, and that's part of the reason they haven't been up for sale yet, because I need to do research, get the outfits together, clean the items up, and just get it together. So that's going to be a project. So my Barbie stuff probably isn't going to be available for a little bit until I get my act together. In the meantime, let's read the next story, okay? I love these stories. I hope you guys are enjoying them as well. Oh my. This one is called The Way of a Woman. Okay, well, let's see what that is. I'll show you the pictures. I'm not sure. Let me see how many pages this story is. This story is 2 pages. So once I flip the page and at the end of the reading, I'll show you the rest of the pictures, okay? In the meantime, let's get reading. Very interested to find out what the way of a woman is. It was their last evening together, and in point of time, at least, he had made the most of it. Looked at from another view, he was dubious and dissatisfied with the results. What he had meant to say had not been said, and for no other reason than that his courage had failed him for the 20th time at the critical moment. It was now at the heel of the evening, somewhere about the small hours, and he was making his goodbyes in the hall. Since he was in the puppy age, and since the Philippines were a long way from Omaha, it need hardly be said that he was full of boyish, inarticulate sentiment. Oh, the language of the day. Oh, it's fabulous, isn't it? When you are quite finished with it, she murmured. I don't quite understand, Jenny. I intimated that I would like to borrow my hand when you are quite done with it. Don't let me hurry you. Oh, you coy little thing, you. He flushed and dropped it like a hot coal. Her cool, amused eyes raked him. One of the unanswerable problems of the universe is the immense superiority which the Jennies, aged 19 and mothered in the home nest of all their lives, have over the Walters, several years their seniors, in matters relating to the eternal battle between the sexes. This time tomorrow I'll be halfway to Frisco, he sighed. You must be going by wireless telegraphy, she answered, rippling with laughter. Hee 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 hee. He smiled ruefully at her joke. I'll be started anyway. I hope so. You might hide your pleasure for another 5 minutes at least. I'll be gone then, he said rather savagely. Of course, I wouldn't want you to miss your train, she returned soothingly. Of course not. Don't be silly, Walter. It's not my fault you've been offered a splendid business opportunity at Manila. You shouldn't have made yourself so indispensable to the firm. We're all proud of you and are going down to the train to see you off. To make sure I go. That's an old joke, and a very poor one. If you're going to turn cynic, goodness knows, the sooner you go to the Philippines, the better. Don't walk into me tonight, Jin. I'm down in the mouth enough as it is. I know you are. Don't think I don't understand, Walt. I'll probably sit down and cry as soon as you've gone, but in the meantime, one might as well laugh as cry. You see, it can't be helped." "No, it can't be helped," he echoed gloomily. "And so we must make the best of it. It's easy for you to talk. You don't happen to be leaving everything that's worthwhile." "No, I suppose not." He seemed to find a difficulty in finding the proper words. "Just as a fellow begins to find out all he is going to miss." Her eyes twinkled. "That's right. The fag end of the theatrical season always is the best out here," she nodded emphatically. "Hang the theaters! You know I don't mean them, Jin." "Then there is the fruit season just coming on, but I suppose there will be plenty of fruit over there." "Jin, you can be the most aggravating girl. It's not very nice of you to say so. You might keep it to yourself for another 5 minutes. You'll be gone then, as you say, and you can revile me in comfort," she quoted. "You're very anxious to have me go," he said moodily. "If I were, it wouldn't be polite of me to show it." "Have I really shown it?" she asked, apparently alarmed at a possible lapse of hospitality. His politeness deserted him incontinently. Wow. "Oh, hang it, Jen. You make me tired," he blurted. "It's a good time of night to be tired," she retorted. Conversationally speaking, they appeared to have come to a no thoroughfare. He was anathemizing himself for his lack of courage in making the plunge, and she was watching him with a smile appreciation of the situation. "I say, Jen," he began at last. "Yes?" Demure expectation was her attitude. I thought, well, it seemed to me that..." Again he came to a period before it was due. "Don't you think a fellow..." Once more he stuck. "You're very lucid," she commented. "It's ever so many thousand miles to the Philippines." This indubitable fact did not appear to startle her. "Isn't it rather late to begin the class in geography?" she asked. "Ooh, she's a sassy one, isn't she? I like Jen." "And ever so many things may happen before a fellow comes home." "Yes, indeed. The evolutionary progress of the human race." She's a sassy little thing. "As likely as not, a fellow may not come home at all. I have heard that the Spanish maidens are very attractive." Her charming smile was eloquent of mirth. "Haven't you any heart at all?" he demanded roughly. "Really, Walter, while I have never submitted to an examination of the X-rays, I have every reason to believe so." Excellent. This is probably my favorite one so far. "I don't suppose you care for a fellow a bit." "My dear Walter, it depends on the fellow," she responded blithely. "I think a good deal of my brother Dick, for instance." With masculine infelicity, he now blundered by putting the cart before the horse. There is one fence the average wooer will not take without the spur. At the word love he balks, as some young thoroughbred at water. "Are you going to let me kiss you before I leave, Jen?" he asked desperately, one flush of flame to the tips of his ears. Her affronted eyes chilled him. Miss Jenny knew well enough it was a mere verbal blunder, that his request carried with it much more than it seemed to imply. She had known what he wanted to say long before he had boggled out his unfortunate rendition of it, but her counterfeit presentation of surprised resentment might have deceived a more experienced judge of human nature than her lover. "How dare you, sir?" "What have I ever done to encourage such presumption?" she demanded haughtily. To her wretched lover she seemed starched to the fingertips. He supposed himself somehow to have committed the unpardonable sin, nor had he any way of divining how tender her heart was toward him. "Oh, Miss Jenny, you don't understand," he stammered. She gave him the well-worn answer that no doubt Eve gave Adam. "If you had respected me, you never would have." "Oh, but I do. It's because I think so much of you that I... Can't you see, Jenny? I'd like to believe that you like me a little bit. I wanted to have something to take away with me to remember you by." With the instinct of her sex, she took the side issue. "Are you expecting to find it so hard to remember me?" Oh, no, I didn't mean it that way. Because, she interrupted pleasantly, it will be as easy to remember me by not getting what you wanted as by getting it. You're laughing at me, he said reproachfully. Am I? How did you discover it? I'm not so thick as you look, she queried, amused. As you think me, he finished sulkily. As you think I think you, she corrected. He harked back to the order of the day. I'm going away for 2 years, Jin. If you cared the least bit for me, she twisted at one of the buttons on her father's overcoat, which hung conveniently near the rack. What good would it do you? It's so silly, you know. I don't think it's silly at all, he protested sturdily. It would do me lots of good. For one thing, it would show me that, well, that you like me well enough to, more than you do most fellows. I see. I'm to flatter your vanity, she said dryly. Oh, you go, Jen. You little sassy wench. No, that is not it at all. Don't you see, dear, it would be something to look back on, a sort of high-water mark to our friendship. If a girl would do as much as that for a man, it would show that she cared for him a bit. They would be on a sort of special footing toward each other, that sort of thing. I shall have to take your word for it without experimenting, she said, adding cheerfully. But you seem to know all about it. I guess you're quite an authority on special footings. This is excellent. His eyes reproached her dumbly for her cruelty. She flashed a smile at him. Her chin was tilted in the air and her eyes sparkled. Some instinct in him flared into rebellion. You know all the time that I love you, and yet you laugh at me, he cried, then whirled to the hall tree for his hat. He was fumbling with the door when he felt a hand on his arm. He turned doggedly. The girl's eyes fluttered to the floor, and there were both tears and laughter in her voice. You haven't said goodbye yet, Walter. He knew from experience her little wiles and lay in wait for a trick. Goodbye, he said stiffly. Somehow she was between him and the door. You haven't forgotten anything, have you? She asked. No, I think not. And there isn't anything you would like to say again? I can't think of it, he answered, grimly on his guard. I thought you said that you... His eyes lit up. Do you want me to say again that I love you? Do you want to say it again, or have you repented? Jen, do you really care for me? She nodded, then looked at him and said shyly with a little laugh, I was afraid I'd never land my fish. It was at this stage of the proceedings that Miss Jenny's affairs went into the hands of a receiver. That's the end. Isn't that a... Oh, the flirtations of the early 1900s. Look at the pictures. And that is that story. We'll see you for the next one, guys. Take care.